welcome to this webinar on tactile language, part 7. My name is Maria Kreutz. I'm working at Nordic Welfare Center, and I'm going to be your host during this webinar. I am project manager for the deafblind issues, and Nordic Welfare Center is an institution under the Nordic Council of Ministers. And we are working with social welfare, and we are working with public health and disability issues. And within the disability issues, we have deaf-blind issues. So that's where we are today within this webinar. We are working together with 5 networks and expert groups. They are working on different topics. We have also different projects, and the network on tactile language is the one that we are focusing on today. The network published a book in 2018. If you can see it, you can support it, a book on tactile language. And this spring, we had 5 webinars with different chapters. We go a bit deeper in every chapter, and now we are on part 7, and in December we will have the last one for this year, part 8. Maybe we will continue next year. We don't really know yet. But there is a good chance for you to get to know the book on tactile language. You can use it as a study material, watching the webinars, and also working with your colleagues or in your family or whatever. Okay, today the part 7 is the title is Illustrations of Multi-Party Communication. And I would like to welcome Sofie Malmgren and Jessica Jägeryd. They are from Sweden, so we have a Swedish presentation today. Welcome, Sofie and Jessica. Nice to see you. How are you?
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
We are just fine. Yes.
It's fine.
Here.
I am excited being a part of this for an hour. And I hope that you feel the same. So once again, to the participants, please feel free to write down your questions in the chat, and then I will collect them and pass them forward to Sofie and Jessica, and we will have a dialogue in the end. So the floor is yours, Sofie and Jessica. Warmly welcome once again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Then we start. Yeah, we have both worked many years with tactile language and congenital deafblindness, and we met, you and me, Sofie, when we started working as teachers in the newly started school for pupils with congenital deafblindness. And then when we started, we both became interested in how to develop tactile conversations with several individuals involved, like in a multi-party communication. And we saw the opportunities with multi-party communication as a way to approach conversations about many different subjects. So in recent years, we have worked as national advisor at the Swedish Agency for Special Needs and Education in Schools, which is Sweden's largest body of knowledge in special needs education. At the national agency where we work, you receive support in the creation of universal accessible learning environments that allow all pupils to develop. We provide special education support to school and kindergarten throughout all Sweden in the country. We answer questions and offer courses and conferences. We also run several special schools, allocate state grants, and develop technical theoretical materials, teaching-like materials. Yeah. At the agency, we have the opportunity to spread these multi-party skills further in Sweden when we visit kindergarten and schools all around Sweden and meet children and youngsters with congenital deafblindness and of course their teachers.
Now, slide 2. In this slide, there are 3 people sitting close, holding hands during a multi-party conversation. Every child, every person has the right to be their own person with thoughts and opinions that others listen to exist in communicative and social contexts, and in which they are given the opportunity to express themselves. In this context, multi-party communication plays a major role for both those with congenital deafblindness and their communication partners.
And this is slide number 3. Today's topic is multi-party communication and experiences, practical and theoretical. That's we are going to talk about today. We describe the importance of multi-party communication and why it's important element of language development, and the importance of being in a communicative environment. We also will describe a few thoughts on and experiences of how we can put it into practice.
Slide 4. In this slide, 7 children and 1 teacher sit in a ring on the floor. The world we live in is a social world in which people create objects and organize their existence. In this world, we all have an intention and a desire to be in social contexts and in communicative relationships with others. Much of what we share and the way we communicate it, however, is based on visual and auditory experiences and perceptions. To have the opportunity to be yourself with thoughts and opinions as someone listens to is a right for all children, all people. This is stated in the Convention of the Rights of the Child, which is law in Sweden since January 20.
Yeah. Yes, and this is slide number 5. And in this slide, 3 people sitting across from each other, going to have a multi-party conversation. It's 2 adults and 1 child who sits in a lap of one of the adults. And one way to approach a deeper and more nuanced tactile language is for several individuals to communicate together in a narrative. And multi-party communication can support language development and a deeper conversation that deals with more than just what's going on here and now. Being in a communicative and social context where you are given the opportunity to express yourself is also a right for all children. So in multi-party communication, it's a favorable form of conversation for linguistic development for children who have congenital deafblindness. And multi-party communication is an inviting and developing way to meet and create the same context and to create and agree on common signs and gestures, among other things, because the person with congenital deafblindness is given the opportunity to overhear. The same opportunity is not given in a 2-party communication. And because the person with deafblindness gets access to listen tactile without having to actively participate in the tactile conversation, but to overhear the conversation, like signs and gestures are snapped up and feelings and moods can be read. Other children do that all the time, every day, in a lot of different activities. That is undemanding, freely conversation where no demands or on response or performance are made, increases the equivalence and attracts curiosity about participating in the conversation. This work has also increased students' ability to make their own voices heard, as well as their understanding of meaning of making themselves heard and expressing their opinions. Participation in all and understanding of their surroundings has increased as the students' voices has been heard, listened to, and responded to.
Multi-party communication is a way to communicate for several people participating and sharing experiences, perceptions, and knowledge with one another through the tactile modality in a social context. Seeing and hearing people do that all the time, already as very young children. We are included quite naturally in different contexts where several people talk and socialize, for example, at the dining table, on the bus, or in the playground. For people with deafblindness, it can be more difficult to enter into these contexts on equal terms. Seeing and hearing people do not always make themselves available to those who have deafblindness. We usually use our sight, hearing, and smell, for example, and not a language or approach that is tactile available. Often children with deafblindness is not included in conversations about what has happened or what will happen in the future. Usually we just talk about what is happening at the moment. Multi-party conversations can be achieved by two persons in dialogue with who share a common experience, explaining this to a third person. The dialogue will have greater meaning for all involved if it revolves around a common experience that is narratively told or passed on. This may even be a spontaneous conversation involving several persons. Multi-party communication, in which the telling and retelling of stories motivates dialogue, is very rewarding and can provide interesting results. Coming together to share one another's communication, body language, and feelings tactilely is important for understanding context and surroundings. We who see and hear do this constantly from infancy. As we mentioned earlier, we quite naturally enter a variety of contexts in which multiple people are talking and socializing.
Yes, slide 6. Multi-party communication, progress and development. Seeing and hearing people find themselves in multi-party context all the time. By seeing and hearing themselves as a subject of discussion, children can achieve a self-image and naturally find a role as a narrator. Those with congenital deafblindness seldom have access to express of themselves as a participant without directly participating. They do not have the opportunity to participate in location, a context from a distance, or rather they must be very close or tactile. Communicative partner skills are very important for creating communication and context together with persons with congenital deafblindness. It's a challenge both to stimulate curiosity about the surroundings world and to make it accessible. Their communication partner themselves must be interested and interesting to success in engaging the deafblind individuals in communication. They must be able to read and follow the individual's self-expression, and in order to create shared meanings and dialogue.
Multi-party communication is one step further in language development. It provides space for a fuller, richer dialogue. To make it possible for a person with congenital deafblindness to participate in multi-party communication, both the individual in question and their communication partners must be tactilely available to another. Those involved in the situation then can share tactilely communicated expressions, feelings, and moods. Without this closeness and tactile interaction, we will not be able to reach one another in the same way. From practice, our experience of implementing multi-party communication has been very positive. Of course, it can be a challenge to identify the method that suits your own situation, and its complexity should not be underestimated. Despite this, it has many positive effects.
And we have seen how multi-party communication increases empathy as the child comes to understand the importance of both making their own voices heard and listening to others. These dialogues also help to develop an understanding of how to communicate and deal with emotions. We also have witnessed how external understanding has developed as the child is able to share other stories and also tell their own. By taking part in a multi-party narrative, the child can gain an understanding that they are someone worthy of being listened to, and that what they express is important for others. This is crucial in building self-esteem and self-belief. Multi-party communication also increases the opportunities for participation in social context as an equal.
Slide 7, multi-party communication in practice. Developing communication with children who have congenital deaf blindness is a challenge. In order to start a conversation with a child with congenital deaf blindness, you have to be interesting, to be appealing as a conversation partner, as well as you should be personally interested in the child and the conversation. Otherwise, the child probably feel it and may not want to be in the conversation. It's also very important that at least one of the communication partners is safe and well known for the person with congenital deaf blindness. You also need the ability to understand and interpret the child's expressions in order to find common ground and really be engaged in the conversation. Both feel that you understand each other and know that you are talking about the same thing. In multi-party communication, one takes a step further in language development. There is room for a richer, more content-rich conversation. In order to allow a person with congenital deaf blindness to participate in communication, where several people are involved, the child and its communication partner must be tactilely available to each other. Then those involved in the situation can share tactilely communicated expressions, feelings, and mood.
And now we are going to see a small video clip from a school who works with the multi-party communication. On this video clip, there are two adults and a child interacting in multi-party communication, where they have playing together, creating sounds and taking turns with a pom-pom. And this video is also available in its entirety on our website, www.spsm.se. And the language, we don't have the sound on. Okay.
Now we'll see.
Just to see a small clip on this little boy.
Vad barnet visar avläser.
Okay. Yeah, then we start this one.
Yes. Just det barnet som du är i samtal med, dess gester, dess uttryck. Man kan inte lägga det på barnet, utan det är jag som måste vara intresserad av att läsa av, och det är jag som måste vara så intressant så att barnet vill kommunicera med mig och vill försöka uttrycka det som vad det nu kan vara som man vill ha sagt.
Bra, du tog det.
Genom flerpartskommunikation så får barnet en förståelse för.
I think you got the sound also, and it was in Swedish, but I think you just saw a nice example how you can do a little play in a three-part multi-party communication. So like we just saw in this video clip, one method for being to use multi-party communication is through games like here. With individuals, you can play together tactilely. You're taking part of a game, perhaps 3 people like here, and remaining within touching distance of each other. And the game may, for example, involves taking turns, like in here with a toy, or maybe you can clap hands, like with a child's hand, or you can drum or play with something else that involves those persons in the same game. Playing this way gives a habit of being several together, and sometimes it's hard to be several together with grown-up persons. Teachers are not so very often used to it, so maybe they need a little bit more training than the child.
Multi-party communication contains many different modalities: tactile language, tactile sign language, tactile bodily communication, gestures, haptic signs, verbal communication, and much more. How we touch each other, how we move, and how we breathe, all of this affects the dialogue. As a partner, it's important to stay focused on and take advantage of all these expressions of communication, both those of the congenital deafblind individual and anyone else involved. In order to gain access to one another in this way, it's important that everyone involved in the conversation is positioned so that they are tactilely available to each other. With the participants sitting side by side, this does not provide the same intensity and opportunities for reading body language and feelings, and those conducted in a very close proximity have more, they can feel each other, the body and all the emotions that are shared, they can feel it together, all the three of communication people. Yes. But how you sit, how close you be to each other must depend on how close the individual with congenital deafblindness chooses to be. And now we're soon going to see a video clip. This video clip is a very nice example from our time that we worked at school as teachers. It's Felix, Jessica, and me who are involved in a multi-party communication on this video clip. And Felix is 8 years old and he has congenital deafblindness. But before the clip, we want to tell you about the multi-party education with Felix in school.
Yeah, the purpose of multi-party communication was for us at the beginning help and support for the students to be able to tell someone else, a third person, about their experiences. And our wish was the students, we wanted them to understand the world a little bit more.
Yes.
And what's going on around them. For example, the mother or father has done something else and they wanted to tell us about that, or vice versa, that we have done something and we wanted to tell at home or grandma or something else, when the children were not involved in the conversation. By communicating, telling and understanding the story, we can create an image of reality and build our own identity. We have a desire to be seen and heard by other people, to be confirmed and understand our own worth. The feeling of being able to share with someone else what we have been through, and also to be able to share what someone else has experienced, give well-being for all of us. It's in interaction with others that we develop as individuals. And Felix always wanted to be close to others, and we noticed when we started the school that he thought it was even more fun when we were two teachers who gave him our attention. So we started by being close to Felix and playing his own clap and finger games in all sorts of different ways. Felix preached the game and kept turning from one another.
Yes.
Yeah. We thought it meant that he wanted to be with us, So we continued, and he wanted to play with both of us and switched between us all the time.
I think he wasn't used to that at
No.
all when he started school. Before school, it was just in the preschool, kindergarten, it was just me and Felix. And at school, we learned to know you. We could be three to play and to talk together.
And I think he liked that very much.
Yes.
And in order for Felix to gain that understanding that other people also communicate with each other, we came close to each other and Felix so he could feel our hands and choose to participate on the conversation or not. We used the hand of speaker and listener, and we never held his hand but when we communicated, but we often tried to bring them in the conversation. We sometimes put a thumb or a hand on his hand to try to make him interested and stay put in the conversation. And he always had the opportunity to choose whether he wanted to participate or not. It was very important for us.
Yes. The multi-party communication meant that he got a lot of new signs confirmed. We also saw that he gained an increased understanding of some abstract signs, which he did not know before. For example, the sign think and the sign before. Through the multi-party conversations, Felix gained an increased understanding that other people experienced and do things even when he is not involved. He showed interest in sharing and taking part in what other people were talking about. Multi-party conversations have been incredibly important for Felix's social skills. Felix also began to clearly show that he wanted to share his feelings and experiences with a third part. He understood that others always wanted to share the experiences with him. Yes, and I think now we're going to see the video clip with Felix, Jessica, and me. We are sitting in the clip, we are sitting close to each other so we can feel both hands and body language. That was very important for us and for Felix. We are talking about what we did earlier that day. We used to do that when we started this multi-party project. We talk about the whole process about cooking jam from apples. We adults thought this was the most important activity during the day, the most important thing to talk about and retell. But Felix has something else in his thoughts.
Today, Felix, Sofie har kokat äpple. Come here. Cooked apple, I meant. I'm sorry. First, we cut Felix the apple, and then he peeled the apple. Yeah, but here, I want to come here. I want the book. I think the book is there. There. No book now. We're gonna tell Jessica, come here. We've been cooking, Felix, cooking apple. The last taste, the apple jam. It tastes good. Yeah, but I'm thinking of, yeah, you've been good. Yeah, Felix, you've been good cooking apple jam. But I'm thinking shower. Yeah, you have been showering before. Yeah, you were playing and laughing. Yeah, that was it. I was thinking about that. Thank you, Sophie. Come here, Jessica. Come here. That was what I was thinking about. Come here, Sophie. We three together. We was telling Jessica about that. showering, laughing. Yes, this is a very nice little film clip.
I think it's the
Best we got.
yes, the most successful multi-party
Yeah.
conversation we captured on video.
Yeah.
Working with Felix in this way and also with the other students in his class has been very exciting and educational and satisfying for all of us.
Mm.
And I think this that you could see in this film, that we are going to talk about something that we feel we think is very interesting, and it was a nice day. We had made this apple jam, but Felix taught us that that is not the most important thing of the day. It's the shower and the game he played, and he laughed a lot. We two grown-ups have to learn that what is really the most funny thing in the day.
Yeah. It was hard for us sometimes.
Yes.
We was thinking something before, and then it's ended up with this story he told us about,
Yes.
what he was thinking about.
And I think that's one of the goals. No, mål.
Yeah, goals.
Goals,
Yeah.
yes. Some
Learning process also.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we really wanted him to learn to tell us to come into and interact and tell us not. We are not going to talk about that. This is what I want to talk about.
Mm.
So he could be the one who led the conversation.
Yeah. And also we wanted him to tell other people what we have done. So this is one of the situation where I wasn't in the situation, and he was going to tell me. You and him were going to tell me. So we often sat like this. He was very small here also. We could have him between us. And but sometimes he's just sat on a chair or in the sofa or something like that, and we just sat very close. So this was one of the way we sat.
Yes. Maybe I think we wanted to talk about very funny things, and I maybe in this before we sat here, I had told Felix that now we're going to tell a very funny thing to Jessica, and we had not we had not the same thought about that. But when we sat, like you said, Jessica, so that close to each other, we could also feel that I could feel in my body that he started to move and interact more intense, maybe.
Yeah.
So
and also when we laughed together,
yes,
we often played a lot, laying on the floor and done some I don't know the name in English, but we kittle.
Yes, I think.
I don't know the English word.
No, I don't know.
We laughed, kittled and laughed a lot with each other, and he liked that a real lot.
And it wasn't all. It wasn't just for Felix. It
No.
was important to us too, to could feel this body language and learn to read body language with our bodies and not just in the hands.
And also with the other students in our class, it was very successful. We done it maybe most with Felix, but we also the other students also was being a part of it. And sometimes it was like another student, me and Felix and you, Sophie, and we were all four together and were playing and talking and normally I think in schools when we visit schools and preschools, it's not possible for like they don't have so many people around the children. Often they are, so sometimes it's hard for them to have lots of extra teachers who can do this.
But we had the possibility.
Yeah, we did, and we took it.
Yes. I'm going to change the slide here.
Yeah. And this is slide number 8. It's 2 pictures on this slide, and the one in the left, it's 2 persons standing up and holding hands. In the picture on the right, it's we've seen this picture before, and it's 3 people sitting across to each other and going to have a multi-party conversation. It's 2 adults and a child who's sitting in one of the adults' lap. Yeah, like I told before, the preschool and schools, we often see students with congenital deaf blindness interact just with one teacher person at a time, and sometimes it's hard. They don't have the possibility and resources to come several together.
And sometimes they think they don't have the possibility,
Yeah,
and because they isn't bekväm, don't feel confidence maybe to be less close to adults, to teachers. Then maybe they hadn't touched each other's in any way before, and they also often think that this is not possible to do with a older child or a youngster or a grown-up.
Can do it in all ages.
Yes, we think so.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit how you sit, but I think that's the only different, I think. Yeah.
As long as the person with deaf blindness want to sit close and be close, you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and cognitive and language development seems to take places more naturally in multi-party context than during two-way context. Multi-party communication is the tactile modality, provide far richer learning and language development and culture context than two-way communication. The process of creating community and shared meaning and agreeing of common signs and gestures, like we told before, is quicker in multi-party than in two-party communication. Yeah.
Making the multi-party communication to feel naturally, it takes time. It takes many attempts to make a success.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to come together, but dare to express yourself and try over and over again. I think sometimes we talk about this in preschools and schools. They tell us they can't do this, it's too hard, we can't, and they try it once or two times and they don't think they can do it. But I think you have to trust yourself and think that I can do this. It's not too hard for me. I can try, but you have to try a lot of times.
Yeah, but also believe that the play is enough in the start. You can start with, like we did. We started with just play together, 3 people. And also many schools and preschools say that it takes a lot of time, but we don't think so. We think that you can always stop. You talk to other children, they overhear everything, and you need to try to do this. It's very important for the person who have congenital deaf blindness to be aware of their lots of going on outside my little world or my body.
And it's I think it's very important what you just said about playing. It's enough to play 3 together. It don't have to be like this situation here that we saw with Felix when he talked with us and he had an own subject that he wanted to share with us. That's a lot of trying, a lot of so you have to do it a lot of times, over and over again, and maybe it can be like this at the end.
We've been doing that a lot at that time.
I think when he's 8 years at the clip, maybe we had worked with this for at least
1 year,
1.5 years, maybe.
Something like that.
Every week, at least one a day.
Yeah.
maybe we should
Yeah. See the
clip once again.
Yeah. Today, Felix, Sophie, has cooked apple. Come here, Sophie. First, Felix cut the apple. Second, peeled the apple. Yeah, but I want to have a book. I think it's over there. Take it there, Sophie. Here. No, we're not going to read now. I'm going to tell Jessica, come here. At last we cooked apple. Last we tasted the apple jam. It tasted good. Yeah, but I was thinking, yeah, you were good. You were good at cooking apple jam. Yeah, but I'm thinking of okay, the shower. Yeah, Felix, you have showered before. You played in the shower and left. Yes, that was what I was going to tell Jessica about. Come here, Jessica. Come, Sophie. Come here. We three. That was what we were going to tell her about.
Yes, we're very proud of that video clip.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
And in the end, when Felix are giving you a hug, he takes my hand and wants me to hug you too.
Yeah.
And maybe there is a little bit of understanding, empathy in that gesture.
A lot of emotions,
Yes.
we think.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound also when he's hugging me and he starts to shake his head, the sound is woo, 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 and it sounds very nice.
Yes. Now we are at the conclusions.
Yeah.
Creating a confidence environment around the persons to be included in the multi-party communication can increase external understanding, enrich language, and increase participation. It can arouse curiosity and lead to a situation in which this kind of conversation can be conducted with new people with whom the individual with congenital deaf blindness may come into contact. Multi-party communication is a way of tactilely providing access to participation and context. Using multi-party communication is extremely beneficial and developmental, both as means of communication and an approach. And I think we saw with the other students, we saw a lot of learning, but Felix, who is the subject in this, we could see a lot of learning. He learned, said he learned a lot of new science, but we think this social skills was a very, very big thing. I don't know the word. It felt big for us. It was emotional when we noticed that he could understand the two of us, and he could understand that we were two different people who wanted to be handled in different ways.
Yeah. We have different emotions, and we think, we thought that he understood that.
Yes.
We were playing with him in different ways too.
Yes.
And
I think he learned that the two of us was two different kinds of people. You are more playful and spontaneous than me. But I think he knew that some more extreme games you wanted, but
Yeah.
more than I wanted them.
Yeah.
Because I know once when we played in that way, we wanted him to show if he could interrupt you when you were tickling me all over, because he liked that, but maybe I don't do that. So
No.
you had to do this game with me, and after a very short while, he stopped you.
Yeah.
He took your hands,
Yeah.
and he took them away from me.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he did the sign for Felix. It can be both sleep and kind.
Yeah.
He did this sign with your hand
Yeah.
on his own cheek and on my cheek.
Yeah.
And soon he took your hands and he put them on himself instead,
Yeah.
instead of on me. Maybe he just wanted you to do it with him, but we think it was his way to tell, don't do that with Sophie. She don't like it. Do it on me instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw that in so many different ways that he understood we were different people.
Yeah. And also that we gave him the opportunity to tell about things he'd been doing with us during the day in school, that we could retell his mother or father or sister, brother or grandma, things that we have done together with Felix, and also that he wanted to tell. He had a suggestion himself. He was sitting thinking of things that we have done, like when we were shopping shoes. He wanted to tell his grandma and grandfather that he was have been shopping shoes, and he would do that in a multi-party conversation with us, and it was very nice. We understood quite often that he wanted to tell other what he have done, and it was not like that before.
No.
It started with this project, or what we will say it was.
And he started to be a little bit curious about us telling about something we had done when he wasn't there, but that was more difficult for him. It was much easier for him to tell about things where he had been part of it, in activities there he had done with one of us, and or with someone from home, but a little bit curious about listening to if we told something from our weekend.
We started to do that quite often. And sometimes we also bring things that we have done. If you have picked some berries or something at the forest or something, you bring it to the school, or we had some fruit with us that we could talk about, that yesterday I was picking this apple in the garden or something like that. It was nice. I think this is...
Yes, I think if I change
the view.
Next slide, it's thank you all for listening.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was very interesting listening to you in this topic. And now we have received a question from the participants. It was one remark that they found a very good example, but it's also a question. And it was mentioned that training can be needed in multi-party communication for the communication partners. This is also our experience in the Netherlands, and that is why we are developing and testing effects of a training in multi-party communication. That's a PhD study of Mieke Worm. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name right, Mieke, but I'm interested to hear a bit more about the training that you give to communication partners. Do you have something to say about that?
I think maybe when we meet teachers out there at preschools and schools, and we talk about multi-party communication, we talk about how they can start from the beginning, because like we said before, many teachers and preschool teachers, they are a little bit afraid to come close. So maybe that's the first learning to do, just to be close to another adult or teacher, or because maybe it's not hard to be close to a child or anything like that. It's easy to be close to a child, but when you have two teachers, they are not used to touch each other and let my hand come around and sit close and my legs are going to cross, or so if it's a small child, normally you sit very close.
Yes.
But do you have do you do it in a structured way when you start to do the touch and the closeness with the colleagues? Because as you said, maybe people feel they are not comfortable. Do you do it in a structured way, or do you just encourage them to just start and try, or how do you do?
I think both. When we have courses, we often use ourselves, and we hug and we talk and we be very, very close to each other, and the students, we tell them to just take the hands, or and there is a lot of laugh and
in our courses,
in our courses, yes, when we have teachers and sometimes there's our parents too, and they are listening to us, and then we try to do it in a very instructive. We use our bodies to show them you can do this. It's not dangerous. It's okay to touch another person, but we also have to show respect for that. Everybody is not comfortable to be very close to another person. I have to choose the other person to be close to.
But also we say that when you work with those persons, maybe you need to take on your special hat or coat or anything just to take the step inside the building, and you think, okay, this is my profession. I need to be close here. So and we talk, but in the courses we practice this. They can sit together and we can let them know how to do this.
And then I wonder, do you prepare something to talk about, or do you just catch something spontaneous that had happened? And if you haven't done this before, do you think it's better to be a bit prepared with something to talk about, an issue to talk about, or how do you think about that?
In the courses, we have maybe talked about a subject that we shall talk about, then maybe everyone talk about the same subject, and we can talk together afterwards. What did you do, and what did you say, and which signs did you have and use? But when we are out and meet children and teachers at the school, it's we just pick up what they are talking about.
But I think it's very important for the teachers to have something, to be prepared with something to say, because I often hear that, what are we going to talk about? I don't have a subject. What can we talk about with this child? Maybe they haven't so many activities and they don't have so many experiences to talk about. But then we tell them, you can just talk about this doll or this pom-pom, as you saw the child in the film. Don't have to be a very
big thing.
No.
You can start with small, just to play.
And I was thinking about the video clip with Felix, and as I saw it, but I don't know if it's true, that Sophie took his hand a bit not strong, but you moved and said, okay, now we are here in this room, we are going to communicate here. Was that right, or did I? And what was the purpose?
Because in this situation we have done this a lot of times, and he and I have been working together for I think 4.5 years. He knows me very, 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 very well. So at that point, so I could. I think that when I take his hand, he can feel my body, and he can feel that now is Sophie going to tell me, no, you have to listen now. It's now you have to be here and listen to this. But I couldn't have done that with a child that wasn't so very, very well known to me.
And often we took his thumb or a little on his hand, and you also bring the arms in like that. You come on the side and bring the arms in, because he often, or sometimes in the beginning, also had some different things. He wanted to have his book all the time, and we wanted to let him understand what we were doing, and this was the only way for us to let him know that this is important. We would like you to show a little bit more about the world. This is our world too, and we would like you to understand a little bit.
And I think my body language in that situation shows him that sometimes you have to listen to another person. You can't just be you who chooses the subject or tell how to do things. So when I take his hand there, my body is a bit, what did you tell it? I'm a little bit bossy. But yeah, I don't take his hand that hard, but he could always draw away his own hand from us, but we could take like a bit strong with the rest of the body.
Yeah.
But you wanted to show him that the communication is here in this area where we are, the three of us. Yeah. Okay, and this chapter, it's number 17 in the book. That's right?
Yes.
Yes. So with that said, thank you so much, Sophie and Jessica, for sharing this with us. And as I said before, this is recorded, and after editing, we will publish it on our website. And if you go to the book and the chapter 17, you can read more about the theoretical part and go back to listen to about the practical things again.
Yeah.
And the last part for this year, based on the book on tactile language, will be in December 9th. We will get back with information about that. For now, thank you, Sophie and Jessica, and have a nice evening, and see you soon again.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.